So, with the passing of each and every day, it seems like we just keep getting more and more leaks about Spider Man Brand New Day. And honestly, this past week has been no different. And that's why today we're talking Spider Man Brand New Day leaks reveal. But before we get into anything, guys, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. All right, Spider Man Brand New Day. As I mentioned to you at the start of this video, we have been getting so many leaks from this project. It absolutely blows my mind that we still have not seen even a teaser trailer for this movie. However, that being said, considering how much publicity this project is getting without doing an actual trailer, definitely shows you why they still haven't released a trailer. Because this past week, they did release some different promotional material for the movie. They ended up showcasing some of the merchandise that would be available with the release of the movie. And with this merchandise actually came some promotional artwork for characters in the movie. One of these characters being Boomerang, another one being Tarantula. These are going to be more low-level characters in this movie. And then you have some of the bigger characters that will appear. Obviously, being Spider-Man, he is the title character. He was also shown on the promotional material. And not only that, we also did get Hulk, which officially confirms that he is in this movie. I know for a while, a lot of people, myself included, have been pretty much assuming that Hulk would be in this film. However, it hasn't actually been confirmed. Even right now, it hasn't technically been confirmed by the studio or anyone involved with the movie. However, considering he's actually showing up in this promotional artwork for the film, that to me confirms it right there. I do believe he will very likely be in the first teaser trailer, or at the very least in the first official trailer. However, the Hulk is not the only character we got. We actually got some promotional material and artwork for the character of the Scorpion, who will be one of the main antagonists of this film. And for me, Scorpion is my favorite Spider-Man villain, so I am absolutely ecstatic to see this character. The design for the character looks pretty cool. Obviously, this is just artwork, so it isn't an actual design of what the costume is going to look like. It is going to be different in live action, but this at least gives us an idea as to what their suits will somewhat look like. I'm really excited to specifically see the Scorpion suit, as he is my favorite Spider-Man villain. I just personally hope they do this character justice and execute his character in a specific way. I'm not a fan of them fully mutating Scorpion. I know they did that in Spider-Verse. I believe they also did that in Marvel's The Spider-Man cartoon. However, on the flip side, I know in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, they more so just gave him a suit that replicated the powers of a Scorpion. However, when you stripped away that costume, he was just a person. So I'm hoping they land somewhere in the middle and do something like what Spider-Man 1994 did and give him a suit that replicates the powers of a Scorpion. However, also use Scorpion DNA to really hammer home that he is the predator of the Spider-Man, and he is going to be someone that is going to be hunting down Spider-Man. And that leads me to another promotional image that we did get, and it does appear to be that Scorpion, Tarantula, and Boomerang are all working together, presumably to take on Spider-Man. Now, what I believe is going to happen is that Boomerang and Tarantula are going to be more lower level villains. They will probably appear earlier on in the film, be taken down relatively easily by Spider-Man. Then we get the creation of Scorpion. We get a battle or two against the Scorpion, and then more towards the end of the film, we get a climactic battle of Scorpion and Tarantula and Boomerang all teaming up to take on Spider-Man. However, once all of them are defeated, and I do believe Boomerang and Tarantula will be very easily defeated, as I mentioned, they are lower level villains, so it would make sense that Scorpion is the one who is more of a challenge for Spider-Man, but he also will be taken down, and the movie to me won't end there. I do believe they are setting someone else up to be the big bad of this film. Now, I said before that Sadie Sink's character could end up being Shothra, and while I will admit that could still be the case, I'm starting to believe that less and less, and to me, it's making way more sense that the final big bad villain of this film will be Tombstone, as he is confirmed to be in this film. And what I believe they are doing is setting something up similar to how the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon set up Tombstone, and have him be a big man persona where he is essentially a mob boss. He is running everything from behind the scenes, and he might even have a very good public perception, similar to how he did in the Spectacular Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon, adding more layers to how difficult it is going to be for Spider-Man to take on this enemy because, like in the cartoon, Spider-Man knows this person is evil. Spider-Man knows this person is the literal big man. However, in the eyes of the public, he is someone who is very beloved. He is someone who even gives back to his community. So he wouldn't be someone that would be prosecuted by the general public. And I believe it actually will get flipped the other way around and have people targeting Spider-Man for some reason. He might get public perception flipped on him, and that could lead to why the Punisher gets involved eventually. Or it could just be that the Punisher right off the bat is helping Spider-Man, and the Punisher is taking on these villains alongside Spider-Man, helping him to take on Tombstone after whatever happens in the finale of Daredevil Born Again, and then we get the Punisher special. So I do think those two will partially lead to what is going on in Spider-Man Brand New Day, but I do believe the final battle will end up being Spider-Man versus Tombstone, but it might actually have a twist, and that twist might be something we've seen before in animation, specifically in Spider-Man 1994. You see, I did mention that Sadie Sink's character could potentially be playing Shathra. However, that would be more of a multiversal level threat and more of a multiversal movie, and it's been confirmed by multiple people that this film is going to be more grounded. So introducing a multiversal level villain in a grounded film to me just wouldn't make a lot of sense. So she could potentially be playing Felicia Hardy. She could potentially be playing a version of Gwen Stacy. She could also be the comic accurate Mary Jane Watson. However, to me, I feel like a character that definitely makes a lot of sense would be someone like Elisa Silver, aka Elisa Silvermane. She is the daughter of the crime boss Silvermane. She appears in Spider-Man 1994, and she actually befriends Peter Parker to the point where when he is Spider-Man, he ends up saving her from a situation, turns his back on her, and she ends up showing her true colors, betraying him, capturing Spider-Man, and I feel like this could be a really big moment for the character of Spider-Man in this film. It could show that he was finally letting his walls down again after losing all the people that he loved most, only to let in a person who is very inherently bad, and it leads to him being betrayed, which would actually lead to him either A, being even more closed off, or B, leading to him going to Ned or going to MJ, and that being the final straw that finally breaks the proverbial camel's back and makes him tell one of them everything that happened because he can no longer afford to be alone. After that betrayal, it would have broken him too much. However, all that being said, I don't know if they're necessarily going to go down the route of her being the daughter of Silvermane. Maybe Silvermane got locked up before and now she is trying to exact vengeance on Tombstone because perhaps he had something to do with her father going to prison. So she's trying to dismantle his organization, and one way she can do that is by manipulating Spider-Man. However, if that is not the case, I could see them going down a route where instead of being the daughter of Silvermane, she's just the daughter of Tombstone. However, unlike in Spider-Man Homecoming, where we did have that situation where Liz Allen was the daughter of Vulture, she just didn't know about his nefarious activities. In this situation, it could be the exact opposite, where not only is she aware of all of Tombstone's crimes, but she actually helps in those situations, and that could give us a really interesting storyline as well. And seeing a brutal fight up against Tombstone with a Spider-Man who is on the verge of breaking, as he did lose a ton in his last movie, and if he does get betrayed in this movie, it could push him even further past the breaking point, and then perhaps that could lead into the actual final battle of this film. Tombstone may have set something up to ensure that the Hulk comes out, but it is not the Hulk that we have been used to in years past. It is instead the Savage Hulk, or maybe even the Gray Hulk, and that is where Spider-Man has to really stop pulling his punches. Throughout this movie, he may go down a route where he does start to not pull his punches anymore, however, starts to reel it back in when he realizes how out of control he is. But when it comes time to face off against the Hulk, the only way he can face off against this insane enemy is by fully stopping pulling his punches and going all out, and we would get an epic battle between Spider-Man and Hulk. And I do believe if they do go down this route, they could tease us with the fact that Spider-Man does not survive this battle. We get that iconic shot of Punisher holding Spider-Man as he's dying in his arms, only to show us the post-credit scene being the symbiote merging with Spider-Man to resurrect him, and that is how he returns in either Avengers Secret Wars or Avengers Doomsday. I personally think he will be in Avengers Doomsday. You can't have that big of a movie without your all-star character, but I'm interested to know what all of you guys think. What did you think of all the promotional material we've gotten so far? And who do you think Sadie Sink is going to be playing? And do you think Spider-Man will appear in Avengers Doomsday? Let me know in the comments below. And while you guys are down there, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. And I'll see all of you in the next video. Goodbye.